from the northeast corner of the compartment, looking to the northwest corner. This is cubicle number 3 as it sits against the north wall. You see the carpeting extending almost to the wall. See the white line there, which is the thermocouples coming out of the cubicle of this cubicle here, which is arranged somewhat differently than the other 2 cubicles, as we'll see. Looking toward the cubicle 1, the distance with spray burner above the wall at cubicle 1. Cubicle 1 and cubicle 2 are set up identically. See the thermocouple trees here. Those 2 locations, and the 3rd tree to the east of the cubicle arrangement. See the lead wires going out and be fully insulated all the way out of the compartment. All the thermocouples in the compartment are treated that way. These thermocouple trees have water cooling in the interior, water cooling line. This is on right now. This is the thermocouple tree in the northeast corner, about 4 feet from each corner. And there is a aspirated thermocouple just to its left. And south of it in the ceiling is another aspirated thermocouple there. Right there is one of the camera views of the interior. That's in the east wall, looking generally northwest. Moving to the cubicles. This will be cubicle number 3. I'm having a hard time getting a vantage point on. Okay, there is paper. 2 reams in the top, I believe in the bottom drawer of this cubicle. There are the 3 reams laid out there. The west wall, smaller piles sitting here just under the bookcase. Notice the placement of the bookcase, which is necessitated by the weight distribution on the load cells under this particular cubicle. There's a half a ream splayed out, paper there. Putting this thing on autofocus. I'm going to stop for a minute. Okay, I just switched to autofocus. There's a thermocouple on top of the dead surface there to tell us when that surface is burning. There's some paper. Notice this is a north wall view. Notice that we've got the computer on the opposite side away from that diagonal corner as in the other cubicles. So there's the computer monitor sitting there in the northeast corner of cubicle number 3. There's some more paper. And finally, in the southeast corner of this cubicle, there's 4 document boxes with 4 reams of paper each, 1 ream of paper each. There's a chair placed at the mid-length point facing toward the north. There's our wastebasket with 1 ream of paper in it and 5 wrappers from paper. There's a computer. You see the gateway computer is actually a desktop computer sitting on its edge. And underneath this, we have a thermocouple under each section of the desk there also. Okay, this is cubicle number 2. Looking past the, trying to look past the thermocouple tree standing right in front of its opening. This is the conventional arrangement. Cubicle 1 and 2 have the conventional arrangement used in the single cubicle test with the paper layout. 3 reams of paper there. Paper on the cubicle walls. The bookcase is in the conventional position for this layout. This is on the south wall now. There's a thermocouple on the desk surface. And once again we have a thermocouple in this corner, more or less under that computer monitor. And in this corner, about halfway along, more or less the midpoint of that section of the desk. That's the positioning used for the under desk thermocouples. There's the computer, another gateway, desktop computer sitting on the side. Standard wastebasket arrangement. I'm going to move this chair a little bit to orient a little bit better. Okay, I'm still in cubicle 2, looking at the east wall arrangement of materials. And here we have paper. In the standard arrangement that I used before, 2 reams, one on top of the other, and an X and a crossed arrangement. And over here in the bottom drawer, on the west wall of this cubicle number 2, and also the exact same arrangement in cubicle number 1, there's another 2 reams of paper in the bottom drawer. Okay, quick sweep of cubicle number 1 because its layout is identical to cubicle number 2. They're on the south wall of the bookcase, thermocouples underneath the midpoint of that desk section, and basically the midpoint of the comparable area to this side, therefore more or less in the computer monitor here. And we have the paper on this side, and the document boxes, 4 of them with 1 ream each. And the same layout of the paper inside the file drawers under the desk.
Can you raise the ceiling? I can't get quite the view on it. We're going to do that. We're going to hold.
Okay, and our gateway computer, again, it's the same type. Sitting on its side edge.
12 o'clock.
Here's a little better view of the chair. You notice it's a different structure than the chairs used
3 seconds on, 3
in
seconds
the
on.
single cubicle test. But basically the same kind of thing. And the same kind of base, looks like nylon again. So expect the same general behavior. And placement is comparable here. The only place where placement is not comparable is in cubicle number 3. This is a view looking down the aisle between the cubicles. 1 and 2 on the right, on the south wall. Number 3 on the left on the north wall. There's the 3 thermocouple trees in a row. The first 2 are basically in the openings of the cubicles, and this one is comparable distance further on, or there could be a 4th cubicle, but there isn't. This is the layout of the carpeting here, and it goes all the way down to this point, 1.5 pile widths here. This is the layout of the 4 nozzle heptane burner with a 1 meter by 2 meter pan adjacent to the cubicle number 1 in the west wall right next to the openings simulated windows. And it's sitting approximately with base 1 foot below the top edge of the panel, the west panel of cubicle number 1. There's another view of that burner. I'm standing in cubicle number 1 now, just pointing to the west through the windows, simulated windows. Okay, over here we have the test wall, looking for failure modes and failure time here. The test wall, and there are 4 purge flux gauges in this.
Purge lines for the
two of them in this edge which is permanent, and two of them in the chipboard itself. Okay, it's November 7th, 2003. This is the interior of the second multiple cubicle test for the World Trade Center investigation. Looking from the northeast corner toward the northwest corner and looking at the side of cubicle 3. Again, we see the carpeting laying out, almost essentially touching the wall and extending outside of the edge of the cubicle here. You notice one difference here is that the lead wires, there are only two thermocouples in each cubicle. We'll show where they are in a minute. This is Nextel wire now. Nextel lead wire. There is no protection on there except the silica insulation on the insulation. On the material, we have similar kinds of thermocouples in the trees and in the cubicles. Locations will be noted in a minute. Still standing in the northeast corner now, looking to the southeast corner. You notice the state of the marinite from the last test. This is more or less the situation throughout. The compartment, extensive fracturing, but nothing lost. That's, of course, the back the northwest corner. That is a new chipboard wall, test wall in that location. Everything else is showing signs of cracking and fracturing, and nothing has fallen yet, however. The other thing you see here is the same thermocouple trees are still in place. The same aspirated thermocouples also, but now they're suspended with some wire to keep them from sagging. And on the external parts of these trees are the Nextel wires, which are less frequent than the other wires that are inside the insulation and water cooled, which proved to be a mistake. See out here, next to cubicle 2, you see lead wires running for the various wires coming off of from a couple trees over in this direction. Looking up at the top of the third thermocouple tree, along the corridor in from the opening on the west wall, just pulling the Nextel wires down. See there's the thermocouple, and we notice this characteristic, this Nextel insulation tends to unravel easily, and it's been taped with glass tape. This is true of most of these wires and thermocouples throughout the compartment. Focus back. And I go to lead wires out. Standing against the east wall, looking down the corridor between the cubicles, showing in the distance thermocouple tree number 1 and number 2 and number 3. Number 4 is in the corner to my right, in the northeast corner to my right. Now standing outside of cubicle number 3, looking at the layout of it, which is the same as in the previous test. I'll point out the thermocouples in a minute. This is a different monitor, essentially the same location. There's the document boxes with 1 ream of paper each. There's paper on the east side. There's the monitor again. There's the chair in place at mid-length point. There's the computer under the desk. Again, that's a desktop computer laying on its side. It's now a different brand. No real significance. Okay, look at the thermocouple. There's the thermocouple on the desktop. And there's one over here underneath this corner of the desk also. There's only 2 thermocouples. Now standing outside of cubicle number 2, looking in at the east side, document boxes, paper, computer. The somewhat larger monitor than is in cubicle number 3. Thermocouple on the desktop. Beneath the computer, there's a thermocouple on the underside of the desk also. There's the document boxes full of 1 1/3 reams of paper each, and the bookcase, half a ream of paper laid out there, another half a ream here, and as in the other cubicles, 3 reams of paper each in the right-hand corner. Cubicle number 1 is laid out, intended to be laid out identically to cubicle number 2. And let's see what branding has, a compact computer monitor there. There's a thermocouple on the desktop. Again, there's one underneath the computer on the other side of the desk there. Layout of paper, 1 1/3 reams of paper per document box in the bookcase, half a ream displayed in the corner, half a ream pile there. And here in the right corner, 1 ream each. And let's go over to the computer on the desk. Can't read that viewfinder, but hopefully it's visible on the monitor. Will be visible on the tape. And I need to do the same thing. I'm back in cubicle number 2, and I'm just getting a shot here of the computer under the desk. Again, it's the desktop turned on its side, and the surplus from this to surplus. Here's the view of the burner, which is the same layout as we had before, and there's this little button for wear. There's the burner as seen by cubicle number 1. Here's the view up the corridor from the opening side, the window side of the room. Following the leads from the first cubicle 3 out, you see right here there's a lead that is covered on that. Okay, this is the 3rd multi-cubicle test. It's November 19th, 2003. We're looking from the northeast corner to the southeast corner. And much of the wall surface has been replaced since the last test. There's the aspirated thermocouple in the ceiling. Here's a thermocouple tree running up here with the external wires being Nextel. Not all these thermocouples are in operation, unfortunately. Now looking from the northeast corner toward the northwest corner, and we see a couple of Nextel leads coming out of the 3rd cubicle, and carpeting extending not quite as far close to the wall this time as it did in the previous test. There's the layout in the room of the 3 cubicles, and in the distance you see the 4 nozzle spray for the 2 megawatt heptanes fire that will take place here. Okay, next I'm going to go to the individual cubicles, where from here you notice that there is some material on the floors. This is going to be a combination of rubble from the ceiling on the floor and Jet A sprinkled over everything. Here's a view down the corridor before we placed any of the tile rubble in place. So it's simply carpet covered. And there's the 3 thermocouple trees. Again, not all these thermocouples are working. In fact, quite a few are not. I think the majority are not, even of the Nextel thermocouples. And over here is the number 4 thermocouple tree in the northeast corner. Looking into the entryway of cubicle number 3, and let me get over here so that we can see that it's got the 3 reams of paper there, partially covered by tiles. Notice some of the tiles look different than others. That means they're inverted. The tan means it's inverted. The white means it's the side that normally faces the ceiling in the office space. There's our bookcase. Again, more tiles. Tiles here. Percentage of tile coverage of the desktops is pretty small. I forgot what it is, something over 25%. Here we are, and still looking at the cubicle number 3. You notice multiple tiles here. This is in accord with what we saw in the drops from the ceiling in the mock-up, 1/5 scale mock-up. There's the computer in this cubicle. We do have a thermocouple on the top and a thermocouple directly underneath on the bottom of the north end of the desk here. And we do have their usual computer setup, confusing the autofocus here, under the desk near the computer. Here's the chair. Notice the half a tile sitting on the chair blocking of the order of 25% of its seat area. And here's the situation on the floor where the percentage of coverage is much higher. Looking just at the left side of the cubicle there, and then over behind the chair at the right side. And again, you see multiple stacks of tiles in accord with the fact that we did see that in the 1/5 scale drops. You notice that there is a tile under the desk there, and there's a tile under the desk there. Those are the only two that are under the desk. Now, standing in the entryway of cubicle number 2, cubicle 2 and 1 are meant to be set up identically, and in the same manner as the single cubicle burn is done previously under the hood. Once again, there's the computer, and there's the 1/2 tile blocking 1/4 of the seat area of the chair. Let's see, there's a thermocouple on top, almost blocked but not quite by a tile, and directly underneath it's a thermocouple on the underside. There's our bookcase, a few tiles blocking the reams of paper sitting on the desktop in the northwest corner of cubicle 2. Paper on the walls, bookcase, computer, chair, single tile there, and single tile there into the desk. And that's that story. Now standing in the entryway of cubicle number 1, and once again, it's set up identically to cubicle number 2. So there's tiles placed on top of the paper piles. And notice that the tile placed where it is on top of the paper that normally ignites the computer is going to block that process, so only the keyboard has a chance to act as a pilot for the computer. There's our thermocouple on top of the desk, a thermocouple underneath, as usual. There's our computers, compact waste baskets, bookcase, papers, tile. And 3 reams of paper, again with tiles on them in some cases. And here's the layout on the floor. Much greater coverage, multiple layers of tile. And there's the one underneath and the other underneath. Here's the 2 megawatt spray burner, the ignition source, placed in the same location that's been placed in the last 2 tests, next to cubicle number 1, about 1 foot below the top of the panel. And there is cubicle 1, cubicle 2 in the distance, and across the aisle, cubicle 3, the ladder in the way. There it is. And there will be jet fuel sprayed on all these surfaces. And there will be tile on the, about 50% coverage of tile on the carpeting in the aisle between the cubicles here. Okay, it's the morning of November 20th, the day of the test, and now we have the tiles in place on the aisle. have 50% coverage here with about 50% inverted tiles laid out in a nice pattern. It looks like we got a tile floor. Here's the broader view of the whole setup. Cubicle number 3 on the north wall, numbers 1 and 2 on the south wall. And let me just walk over and show the layout. Kevin thinks it's too neat. Seems to be nicely in place there. Cubicle number 2, one last picture. Here on the floor, desk surfaces. Cubicle number 3, floor. Desk surfaces. Everything seems to be in place. Okay, it's November 25th, and this is test number 4 of the multiple cubicle tests. And now notice that the burner, 4-nozzle burner, heptane burner, has been moved to in the interior and is now next to cubicle number 2 in the same relative height as it was for cubicle number 1 on all the previous tests. We have the same instrumentation set up, the thermocouple leads there, two thermocouples under the desk. This happens to be cubicle number 3. This test will have no Jet A, but it will have rubble, as you can see, the tiles on the carpet there. We're going to look at each cubicle individually next, but first notice this is thermocouple tree number 4, thermocouple tree number 3 there, and there's 2 others there in the aisle. There's a closer view of the spray burner from the end. They've just been calibrating heptane flows. Looking into cubicle number 3, notice the layout of the tiles here. No tiles on top of the bookcase, tiles in various places on top of paper and the desk surfaces, and then much more tile on the floor, including multiple layers of tile in accord with their drop experiments. There's the desk chair, and I'm going to check its position in a moment. Still in cubicle number 3, we're looking at the computer, which is a gateway, and there's the chair with this 1/4 tile blocking 1/4 of the surface. And now we're looking at the east side of the tile arrangement, the paper arrangement on the east side of this cubicle. Now looking at cubicle number 2, and there's the burner right behind it, behind the east wall. Looking at the layout of tiles and paper and across the various surfaces. And I think I'm going to need to move a couple things here. But let me first look at the floor. Notice the tiles under the desk. Okay, looking again at this arrangement, I moved the chair back a little bit to be in line with the halfway point seam. And I moved the tile over there and straighten up a little bit. Okay, there's our arrangement of computer and wastebasket behind the chair. There's all of the paper in the bookcase. And then we're looking at cubicle number 1 at the east wall of the cubicle. Computer box under the desk. All these have the thermocouples in the same locations as the previous tests. They're on top and below the desktop. Here's our view of the tiles on top of the paper tiles and the west wall area. And there's the stuff on the floor, and there's my foot. And I just heard a tile crack under my foot. Now finally looking at the aisle, the carpeting and the ceiling tiles laid out. Half inverted, half not. Here's a close-up view of the thermocouple trees with the next tile thermocouples. This is cubicle number 2. Lower layer. And if you look close there, you see on the bottom is a wall panel. We're symmetrical left to right about the entrance. And here again, there's a wall panel down on the bottom. On the bottom there is a desk. On the bottom over here is a desk. Next layer on cubicle number 2, we've got a ream there, a ream there, a ream there, a ream there, a ream back there, a ream in the wastebasket, and an equal number of reams on this side. And here's the view from the west of cubicle number 2. The tiles here, of course, are 12 by 12 ceiling tiles. This is 9 by 24 inch gypsum board, interspersed here as well in the bottom layer. Okay, we're beginning to add more of the side panels onto this mess. And here we put 3 panels on top of each other in order to assure that we've got space here for the jet fuel to get into and get a fire going on the underside of these panels, especially considering that the igniter will be heating from above mainly. View from the west, same setup. Cubicle number 2. And there's panel on top of panel, another panel on top of panel, so there's 4 panels deep there. There's a ceiling tile stuck in there, there's a gap. Some gaps here. Okay, there's an area under this side panel, which is held up by the computer. It means it's going to slowly collapse. There's an area under this side panel, held up by the chair.
Do we want these? They have a little bit of plastic.
I don't think it's worth it.
Okay. One thing that we need to do now is we need to put
Okay, and here's the west
the rest of the
view
ceiling tile
of
and
this
the rest
stuff.
of the drywall. Here? On top. This is only half of it.
Final arrangement on cubicle number 2. Much of the drywall, except for 4 pieces near the bottom, on top of the lowest layer of materials here, has been pulled out. So we're dealing primarily with ceiling tiles as the inerts here. And in the process of pulling that out, some things got jostled around.
Alex,
Yes.
you don't have any more of those little white pads, but it's on the pads, so we get you
So now, for example, the ends of the bookcases are all rearranged. Things are dark in there, not necessarily arranged as they were in the beginning, with regard to where the ceiling tiles are vis-a-vis the desktop. west view. There's your ceiling tiles on top of
If you want to look at exactly the same
the,
thing, I mean, not exactly the same thing, but remove
Full
the ceiling
panels.
tile.
and Anthony pulled out one more 9x24 piece of chipboard out the back on the far corner there. Test number 5, which is partially broken down here. This is the view from the east. This cubicle is against the north wall here on the right. And see the computer underneath there. Side panels flipped over on top of the desk surfaces. Large desk surface flipped downward on top of another panel. These corners to the south are still intact. Okay. Okay, now I'm looking from the south into the southeast corner. Southeast.
This one in the back. There's a double.
And there's the north wall. There's the panel flipped over with the computer. There's the ends of the bookcases. The wastebasket's back there with a normal amount of paper. There's the top of the computer processor. There's the large desk surface. And here is the intact material on the south. Papers in the drawers as usual. Here's a view of the southeast corner with its 4 document boxes spilled over and covered partially with intermixed with tiles and chipboard. And here's a view of this side of the cubicle looking through the entryway. I'm not sure what was recording and what wasn't in the last few minutes here, so I'm going to redo all this. There's the entryway, paper, chipboard, document boxes skewed around the base of the chair, which is upended. And the area, computer desk area is tilted down, pretty well supported underneath, so it should stay like that. The steel brackets are in place. Here's the southwest corner of the desk. 3 rooms of paper, interspersed and covered largely by chipboard. I'm looking now at the top of the eastern side of the thing, looking at the various piles of paper in the southeast corner and toward now up to the northeast side corner of the setup. Now I'm standing in the entryway, on the east side of the entryway, looking at number 3 on the cubicle. Scrolling down, showing the computer sitting underneath the, actually, that's the monitor, and it's sitting under this fallen 2x4 panel here. Behind it is the computer processor fallen over, and the wastebasket fallen over back in there too, underneath that part of the desk. Okay, now I'm standing in the entryway again. This is the western side of the entryway. Looking at lots of paper spilled, document boxes spilled. These are all from the bookshelf. Looking into the area where they've fallen around the base of the chair. Getting more perspective here. Looking toward the north 4-foot high panel, which is tilted inward. Underneath all this is the tall panel from the bookshelf. It's actually underneath that desk. It's sloped under, down 45-degree angle from the north. Okay, now I'm looking from the west into the northwest corner. You see the panel, the 5-foot high panel, which had the bookcase on top of it, laying on the floor, blocking the floor. You see the wastebasket deep inside there. You can see a few tiles, chipboard and a tile sitting on top of that. Here's a float desk. In addition to that bracket that you see there, with not holding it, there is a steel bracket in place which are holding it. And here's the stuff on top of that desk. And if you're looking toward the northeast, you get the idea that it is broken down in. And we have definitely some changes are going to happen here in the burning rate of things. Here's the southeast corner. Here's a view of the chair with the chipboard blocking. Here's a view of the southwest area, corner area. There's the paper, the white stuff is paper stacks. I keep hitting the wrong button. And I'm trying to zoom. And there's the bookcases of the file cabinets fully in place, unchanged. Okay, here I am standing next to the west wall, a little bit to the south, looking down at the desk, chair, upended, and showing how it is laying relative to everything else. And there's a number 3 over there. And
We have the wire here.
there's a story in north. East corner. Okay, we are resuming on December 2nd, 2003 to look at Cubicle 3, which has had to be, Cubicle 3 has had some substantial redesign, redistribution of upper fuel items, at least, because of problems with the load cells. And this is the new version, and it should be the final version. One of the things that happened is that one of the file cabinets got removed. The other thing happened is that some of the weight on the diagonally opposite corners got redistributed here. So we'll try to review the whole thing. Okay, looking at the northeast corner, we see drywall, we see the computer processor, tile, carpeting, and the edge here of the file cabinet that's remaining on this side. On the other side of the computer processor is the wastebasket, which is a major fuel item that is potentially going to play upward and onto the underside of the desk, which is laying in there. Maybe the only thing that does that. And it's only catching one outer corner of it, the northeast corner of the big desk surface. Okay, coming up over the top, here's the still horizontal 2-foot by 4-foot desk surface with its panel connected to it. I'm working my way toward the mess on the east side of the cubicle. There's a 2-foot wide section of panel right there with several tiles and some chipboard on top. And there's the undisturbed desk surface, but largely covered. Notice that there is some paper under there. That's a pretty good amount of space. Now standing in the southeast corner, looking at the desktop, you see some spilled. You remember there's 4 file folders in this corner. They're all spilled over and covered over by this panel section, 2-foot by 4-foot panel section. And okay, still continuing with the east side. There's the underside of what looks like in the southeast corner. Coverage on the desktop surface there and paper, and the gap with various pieces of inert material spilled underneath there. And let's see. Here's the cabinet that got removed, and down below we have most of that area, carpet area, covered by inert material, mostly gypboard. There's one remaining cabinet there. We saw it from the other side, from the east side. This is new. This panel laying here like this is new. You see back on the corner into the top of the computer processor, which is leaning against the tipped over wastebasket. And you see we got a true mess of material here. Let me look under this. So still looking from the southwest corner into the northeast direction. I'm looking under this panel with number 3 on top. We see the chairs spilled over here. The various document boxes, paper with them. Underneath this is quite a bit of inner tile covering the floor, carpeting. And I see more spilled paper there. In the entryway, looking north, this is a 4-foot wide panel tipped over the top of everything. Again, this is done to get good weight distribution on the load cells. Here's the southwest corner of the cubicle. This desktop still in place, sitting on top of a file cabinet. And its 3 reams of paper are in place, distributed about, and rather extensively covered by inert material again. Okay, I'm working my way to. Now we're looking straight from the west. This is the southwest corner, the cabinet in place. There again is the stuff on the southeast corner. Stuff in the southwest corner. Here's this 4-foot wide panel. Here's what's underneath it. And here we see the legs of the chairs. You see just the wheels of the chair there, visible far enough away that that fire is not going to feed under this panel too well. That chair fire might feed under the panel on the southeast corner. But this panel, desk surface, has very little underneath it that's going to burn. This is a panel laying on the floor that had the bookcase on top. There's the wastebasket lying over inside there. That may give us some heat underneath the far edge of this big computer corner desk surface. It's got firm light stuff on top, and there's a space up here, and then the closure that's not going to burn too well because the top of it is just a panel with thermoplastic fabric. This is the tilted panel, and closer here. This is what things look like on top, far side, and then on this side with a fair amount of this panel surface area on top, also covered by inert material tiles and gypboard. Here's another view of the southwest corner top. Let me confirm, I just went over there and looked more carefully that only the very bottom end of that wastebasket is going to feed fire up under the underside of this large corner desk section that's on a 45-degree angle or a 30-degree angle. Unless it melts and flows in all directions, it won't be very effective at getting that going. And we'll see what happens. That's going to be the slowest part of the fire. See, again, a lot of detritus on top of that. The gray thing on top of the desk surface, we see edge on here, beneath the paper and the desk surface, is the bottom shelf of the bookcase, so it's steel, so it's really inert. Okay, I'm standing in the northwest corner of the enclosure, looking right now at cubicle number 1, and in a moment, and then over to cubicle number 2. Let me zoom in a little bit. Cubicle 1, and then cubicle 2. There's the burner in the distance, essentially adjacent to cubicle 2. We're on 2 megawatts for 10 minutes. And there's cubicle 3, which we've just been looking at. Now the next thing I want to do, and we've got the usual setup with thermocouple trees here, and the usual setup with the amount of carpet that we've got. You walk down here, and then there's no inner coverage on this carpeting here. We're going to have Jet A here. It's going to make a trail on that carpet. Okay, I want to get down to low level and look under these piles that are making up cubicle 1 and 2. Okay, pardon the sideways view here, but this is the view in under the pile. Cubicle number 1, you see a goodly amount of open area there, in which there is spilled paper, spilled documents, boxes, and looking in that direction, the computer, and behind it the wastebasket, along the center line, which also then includes the chair. Switching to the other side of this chair, and now looking into the same thing, we see again a tunnel, a tent-like roof with a gap at the top, forming a chimney on either side of the chair and the computer. And again, on this side, we have document boxes spilled and so forth. We have various inner tiles spilled out throughout there. I am now looking at cubicle 2 down and under the spilled pile, trying to show the level of porosity here. And again, the same kinds of materials are present underneath this roof, tent roof, as are present in cubicle 1. And this is the other side. This is the east side of cubicle 2, and right there is the burner. So this is, again, the level of porosity and the amount of spillage. All the plastic parts and the bases of the thing are thrown into there as well. So that's an indication of the openness of this, and the layering above it. Okay, it's December 9th, 2003. This is test number 6 in the World Trade Center multiple cubicle series. And I'm standing in the
safety lady. Look at this
northeast corner, looking at the thermocouple leads at the moment coming out of
You think you're part of
cubicle
fire
number
research
3.
or something?
There's an overall view of cubicle number 3, looking toward cubicles 2 and 1, and the burner, spray burner, sitting there in the position next to cubicle number 2. And we have the usual thermocouple trees in place. There. And then 2 more along the aisle between the cubicles. Okay, next I'm going to do a close-up of the cubicle number 3. I'm standing at the southeast corner of cubicle number 3, looking down at the 4 document boxes with 1 ring of paper each. There's our piles of paper, there's our computer monitor, as usual. And there's the computer box, and wastebasket on the other side of on the other side of the chair here. And there, the same place it was in the past test, but not the same place as I marked, is the thermocouple on top and below the desk, indicating involvement of that disk surface. And here we are looking at the different arrangement of cubicle number 3 on account of the necessity overloading of the weight transducers. But here's the big bookcase. Looking at the west side of the cubicle, there's the 1 ring of paper each, and the paper on the wall, the half ream paper here, half ream paper there. As usual, we've got paper 2 reams in the top drawer here, and 2 reams in the bottom drawer of this file cabinet here. So here's another view of the wastebasket with its usual 5 paper ream wrappers and 1 ream of paper on top, plastic wastebasket.
Jack out there, Sam?
Now standing in the northwest corner of cubicle number 2, looking down at 3 reams of paper. Along the desk surface, a half ream of paper there, usual 1/3 reams of paper in the bookcase, half ream of paper here, thermocouples above and below the desk surface. There's our computer. And wastebasket for the usual contents. There's a chair, computer monitor, and a keyboard, and a little bit of paper there. Inch high and 3/4 inch high layers of paper here, and our 4 reams of paper and document boxes in the northeast corner of this desk, of this cubicle. And the usual paper in the file cabinets left and right.
Could have, but you
Standing
wasn't
in the
fast enough.
northwest corner, cubicle number 1, looking down at the 3 reams of paper on the desk. That's the half ream of paper skewed. 13 reams of paper in the bookcase, half ream of paper on the desk. And a couple on the desk, above and below. Computer, wastebasket, placements. It's going out there. Computer monitor, keyboard, paper layers, document boxes, paper in the file cabinets as usual. And there's the chair set up properly, and then paper in the file cabinet. Notice that we have no, in any of these, do we have any clutter in terms of fallen tiles. Nothing on the floors, nothing on the desk surfaces. And we notice that the walls are in pretty rough shape here, but should be adequate. And here's the state of the carpeting, running down past tree number 1. Number 2. There's number 1 all the way to the top. You see the cracks in the ceiling tiles. And this will be a Jet A ignited fire. So there'll be the usual 4 liters per cubicle plus an extra liter on the carpet here. The only incomplete part here has to do with the carpeting and where I'm standing. Where there's maybe half a square foot missing. I use a lot of pieces. Here's the overall view then.